Subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss another update from India Forums.
I'm supposed to look very dirty and disheveled, but that was not the plan. We never planned कि हमको ना इतना गंदा वो plan नहीं था, वो अपने आप in the scene वो हो गया. Now whatever is established in the first scene has to stay till the end. You have to maintain that continuity. So उसके बाद में वो by default ऐसा था कि I was covered in dirt, dust, mud, sweat, tar because of how dirty the whole place was. So everything that you will see in the film was real. There was no makeup added कि मट्टी लगाई है या brown makeup किया है, नहीं.
So was she your first choice, and what caught you that Ritika should do this?
Good question. Before I approached anyone, her name came up. She was not on the short list. I had only seen her film Sala Khadus. In fact, I didn't know kickboxing and MMA.
Debutant director Harsh Warrdhan's movie InCar is coming out on the 3rd of March, starring actress Ritika Singh, and we got into a lovely chat with them. Here's what they shared about the film and more. Have a look.
The trailer of the film looks very interesting and intriguing, and we all want to know what happens with the protagonist later. So congratulations for that. Starting with you, Ritika. You have done a bilingual film as your debut film, and now 7 years down the line you are coming with this multilingual film. So do you feel there was something which you couldn't do when it comes to the Hindi industry, or you rejected any offers or anything?
I did do that a lot because I debuted in 2 languages at the same time with Sala Khadu. So I debuted in Tamil industry and the Hindi film industry. So over there, I felt like I had a much better reception and I was getting better scripts. So it's not about the language or the industry. I will just go wherever I get good content from, even if it is any industry works, as long as the content is good, as long as the kind of people that I'm working with are genuine people who want to put out interesting content out there, I'm game. So even in Hindi, I mean, I have gone for a lot of auditions. It doesn't always end up working, so it's a bit difficult, but I will just go wherever I'm respected. So, whenever that comes, a good role, a good script, a good team, I'm game.
Sir, going with you, when you thought of writing this film or even then producing it, directing it later, did you think in the beginning only that you will make it into like multilingual film, or it was during the process you realized that you should go with different languages?
Actually, I wrote it for Hindi film. We shot it as a Hindi film. And when I edited this film, I mean with my editors, and when the first cut was locked, I, being a man who has written it and who has directed it, I feel very responsible for the film, and I wanted to do it with responsibility. But I didn't want the film or the story or treatment of the film to come out like it's been trivialized, it's titillation के लिए बनाया है. I didn't want that. So I showed this film to a lot of especially women of all ages who are not from film industry, to get their reactions, and the reaction I got was positive for the film. Okay, so then we were sitting with the producer, and we thought this story is universal. Language is not the barrier, because unfortunately this happens all over our country. So we felt that people can connect to this story on a human level. Before anything, the film is about the human rights. तो बहुत बड़ी बात है, but human treatment. So we thought, why not give the platform, as big a platform to the film as possible. So that's why we then decided to do it in 5 languages total. Yeah.
So Ritika, as seen in the film, you have gone through a very dark, it's a dark phase, the role is dark, you have the characters getting oppressed and everything. So while there were challenges for doing this, what was the process you had to unlearn or come out of the character, because you are mentally your things get disturbed. So what was that process coming out of the character?
It was very difficult. I stopped enjoying things that I do as a hobby. Like exercising for me is a hobby. I love kickboxing, I love martial arts, I love going to the gym because I've been doing it since the age of 3. So those are things I enjoy doing. I like watching dancing videos. I like learning dances. But I stopped enjoying all of that, and that was a big signal for me to realize that this has taken a toll on my mental health, and I've stopped enjoying things that I do on the daily. And sometimes when you don't feel like doing something, it is not always good to push yourself to purposely still do it. It's okay to take a break. The only problem was my break became a little too long because I had zero motivation, zero desire to get up and get out of that mood at all. Eventually, of course, as they say, time heals everything and you move on. So around the 5th, 6th month mark, I started getting better. But the impact that the film has had on me will forever stay.
Yeah. And as we have heard also in previous interviews and stuff, that there was a time where you told her not to wash her hair for 16 days and stuff like that. So what were more challenges like this and other stuff where had to mold to the character and do something like this out of the box stuff?
I mean, see, the thing is, in the film, towards the end, when the climax happens, there is a shot or two in the trailer. I'm supposed to look very dirty and disheveled, but that was not the plan. We never planned कि हमको ना इतना गंदा वो plan नहीं था, वो अपने आप in the scene वो हो गया. Now whatever is established in the first scene has to stay till the end. You have to maintain that continuity. So उसके बाद में वो by default ऐसा था कि I was covered in dirt, dust, mud, sweat, tar, because of how dirty the whole place was. And everything was real. So everything that you will see in the film was real. There was no makeup added कि मट्टी लगाई है या brown makeup किया है. नहीं, it was natural. Only the blood spots were obviously fake, but everything else was 200% real, including my tears. And that had to be maintained. So that continuity you cannot bring back. Like I cannot come on the set next day and say मैं थोड़ा मट्टी में रोल मारती हूँ ताकि मेरे मुंह पर that I can't do that. It's a very difficult thing to do. So that especially in the hair has to be maintained because you can't get that every single day to get that texture to make it look real. So we just went for it, and then I remember when the climax ended, I was like मेरे बाल तो मैं खुद मेरे हाथ भी मेरे बाल में नहीं जा रहे थे. So I thought अब मैं क्या करूँ? Going to a salon also will be a little embarrassing because what will I tell them? ये क्यों? What did I go through for my hair to get to this point? But I thought चलो ठीक है जाते हैं देखते हैं थोड़ा स्टोरी वोरी बनाते हैं. So I went there and they asked me, मैम आपने ऐसा क्या किया है? मतलब ये तो बहुत ही आपकी हालत. You'll have to sit for 5 hair spas back to back क्योंकि this looks very bad. So I said no. I went on a mountaineering, like a trek kind of a thing. I was there for 30 days, 20 days. मैंने कुछ तो bullshit बोला उनको because I could not have told them. मैं बता नहीं सकती थी कि ये रोल के लिए किया है because nobody will understand. So I just said मैं trip पे गई थी and then they washed my hair and somehow it came back to its real self. Yeah.
Also, where we shot the climax, in the script also it's a burnt factory. So what she's talking about is actually the ash.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you know ash का क्या होता है कि if even a single drop of water comes, it gets very uniquely spread. You cannot recreate it. So when she was crying and there was sweat and all that, that needed to be maintained. I mean, I'm thankful for her commitment to the story and to the film because it does take a lot out of you physically and mentally, So, but real life में fighter है तो उसने she could manage.
When we see the script, like it's a survival thriller and all that. So was she your first choice, and what caught you that Ritika should do this?
Good question. It was not first or second choice ka, but as usually happens before casting also, there are short lists. Yes. There are short lists ki we'll approach them and we'll do this and do that. And before I approached anyone, her name came up. Okay, and she was not on the short list. So I had only seen her film Sala Khadus. In fact, I didn't know about her kickboxing and MMA career or achievement ka pehle se. I only knew Sala Khadus ka this thing. And I really wanted somebody who will, honestly, when you will watch the film or people will watch the film, they'll see that how much was expected of her character on multiple levels, physical, mental, psychological. I used to worry that her parents are going to like really scold me. What you have put my daughter through, you know, you are trying to make film and she's suffering for real, you know. I needed somebody who will give more than 100% to the film, not for career or for how much that role will bring her this thing, because I am also with this film, I was not thinking of all those things. I wanted this film to be fully committed to do the best we can, and the rest is not in our hands. So when I met her first time, she was shooting in Bangalore, and we went there to meet her, and you know, once I narrated her a little bit, and she really started asking correct questions. So I knew she was right for the film, because and I am the kind of a director who doesn't believe in too many rehearsals. I want it to genuinely come, and especially with a film like this, she being a woman, you know, before her acting started, her reaction as a woman will show forth, you know. So I wanted to utilize that. So I never let her over prepare herself or do this. So when she started asking these real questions, I knew that she's the Sakshi.
So, sir, did you earlier think that this movie has to be made for the big screens, or somewhere down the line you thought that now that you want to reach to a bigger audience or a mass audience, you could go for a digital release also?
No, this was always a theatrical release. Was planned, was shot like that. Like I mentioned, technically it was shot with anamorphic lenses, which are quite big. So theatrical experience के लिए ही shoot किया था हमने. Plan was always this thing, and as you know, eventually it does come on digital platform, you know. So.
Okay. Ritika, as we have seen the trailers also, as they have come out in different languages and everything, so we have noticed that the reception, as you even mentioned earlier, is different. Like some of the trailers are getting higher views and whatever. So do you feel that now there is a need for you to make a presence, a stronger presence even in the Hindi industry, and if you would want to, how would you do it?
I think so. I mean, Hindi is my first language. So even when the best part about, you know, doing cinema in regional languages, especially languages that you do not speak, is that you get trained really well. So now I can learn my Tamil lines like this. So imagine how fast I'll pick up my Hindi dialogues, and how much better I'll be at that, because my thinking language is Hindi. My first language is Hindi. So even when I act in Tamil or Telugu, I think the scene first in Hindi, and then I just modify it with a different language on top. So I mean, I would love to act more in Hindi. Like I said, if there are good scripts that come, good teams, good scripts, then I'm more than willing to do it. And now, because there is so much scope for actors, for filmmakers, for everybody in this industry, because the OTT is so big right now. So I think there's a lot of scope for all of us to somehow find our own space. It's just the timing has to be right, and you just have to hit at the right time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.